Artificial intelligence evaluates linear logic at a volume and velocity that biological brains cannot replicate. When algorithms test 1,000,000 sequential variables per second, linear thought ceases to be a human advantage. René Descartes defined the modern intellectual age with the axiom, "I think, therefore I am." Today, relying strictly on cognitive processing puts an executive at a severe deficit. A leader's value is no longer measured by their ability to manually calculate outcomes or parse data step by step. The metric of high-level performance has shifted toward energetic resonance and the ability to maintain a nonlinear presence under pressure. The new operational axiom for leadership in an automated world requires a different baseline. I vibrate, I am alive, I shine. To remain relevant, human leaders must transition from operating as linear cognitive processors to functioning as resonant macro-quantum entities. This transition requires a specific architectural framework called the Black Swan QoS. It is a biological and organizational operating system designed to execute this upgrade. The core architecture is grounded in early 20th century physics. As theoretical physicist Max Planck established, energy does not flow in a continuous wave, but is emitted in discrete, measurable packets called quanta. Inventor Nikola Tesla expanded on this, identifying that frequency and vibration, the rate at which these quanta oscillate, dictate the physical properties of the surrounding environment. The Black Swan QoS takes these microscopic quantum principles and scales them. This is the concept of macroquantum, the application of quantum mechanical effects to human biophysics and large-scale organizational behavior. Installing this system requires a precise three-phase architectural upgrade, shifting a leader through the states of being, doing, and finally, legacy. Phase 1 is immersing, starting with Layer 1, the FCP infrastructure. The fascia, corpus callosum, and pineal gland form a superconducting network. Activating this 5-center axis drops electrical resistance, variable R, to 0, initiating LEM, which condenses physiological energy into a sharp, laser-like output. Without securing this zero-resistance baseline, a leader's external actions remain subject to friction. Their energy disperses, resulting in mechanical inefficiency and increased physical stress. Phase 2 is embedding. This diagram shows the architecture expanding upward to Layer 2, the processing engine. This is where static internal energy converts into dynamic external execution. We call this layer the CSPSM, the Consistent Sequential Peak-Surpassing Mastery Engine. It acts as the software installed directly onto the upgraded FCP hardware. The CSPSM engine is designed to ingest extreme external variables without triggering a systemic failure. We categorize these variables as VUCA, an acronym for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Managing this requires dynamic consistency, or DUC. It is the state of holding perfect equilibrium while managing unpredictable, intersecting chaotic elements. Executing tasks in this balanced state physically myelinates new pathways in the brain, forging what we term neural superhighways. These neural circuits allow the leader to process incoming chaos quickly. They make rapid, nonlinear decisions that bypass traditional step-by-step logical deduction. Because the processing relies on these efficient superhighways, the leader maintains a flat physiological baseline. Complex problem-solving occurs without a spike in heart rate. The CSPSM engine enables leaders to integrate chaos as a developmental tool, mitigating the physiological strain that drives executive burnout. Phase 3 is embodying. The architecture concludes at Layer 3, where the high-performing individual scales their output into a self-sustaining network. This scaling is achieved through the observer effect. In quantum mechanics, the observer effect is the principle where the act of observing a phenomenon alters its state. Operating at a high frequency, the leader's observation acts upon the organization, forcing chaotic risks, the wave functions, to crystallize into structured opportunities. This creates the G4-DSEC ecosystem, a four-dimensional matrix routing energy top-down, peer-to-peer, bottom-up, and through self-coaching. This specific matrix structure takes the isolated frequency of a single zero-resistance leader and distributes it across an interconnected organizational grid. Macro-quantum legacy is achieved by engineering an energetic ecosystem that allows high-frequency performance to sustain itself autonomously. We can quantify the total output of this architecture using the Black Swan QoS mathematical model. This equation calculates how a legacy is generated. Total legacy is the integral of two variables over time: the leader's core vibrational frequency, represented by psi, multiplied by the ecosystem's execution power, or IEE. Contrast the scalable efficiency of this system with the finite constraints of the old Newtonian leadership model. This table breaks down the operational differences between the two. The legacy leadership model relies on blunt force. It operates through muscular effort, static positional titles, and rigid linear control mechanisms to drive results. Organizations bound to that Newtonian column face a physical ceiling. They lack the structural capacity to scale in an AI-driven future. The macro-quantum framework is a benchmarked standard. It is the architecture that established the Leader Lighthouse model, recognized and verified in the Guinness World Records. The progression through hardware immersion, dynamic execution, and ecosystem architecture creates a sustainable path for macro-quantum influence. The Black Swan QoS is ready for organizational deployment. In an era where machines possess absolute logical supremacy, human leaders must abandon linear thinking. The path forward is to ignite your internal resonance and architect a legacy that automated systems cannot replicate.